understand. In English, we say promised Messiah, alayhi salam, promised Messiah, peace be upon him. So what is the meaning of Messiah? You probably know, but I should say that again, that Messiah means a person who is chosen by Allah the Almighty, and Allah speaks to him. Allah speaks to him and Allah gives him information. And the Messiah was prophesied before in the Holy Quran and also by the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that Messiah will come in our time in the 14th century. He will appear. So Hazrat Masih Maud promised Messiah, has titles. So Messiah is his God-given title. He's also called Prophet and Nabiullah. He was also a Mahdi. So children, you would probably know prophet. What does prophet means? So let me explain that again. Prophet is a chosen person from Allah. Allah loves that person very much. Allah communicates with that person, and when Allah talks to a person and that person speaks to Allah and Allah also answers, then that person is called a prophet or Nabi. So Hazrat Masih Maud promised Messiah was also a Nabi Allah, and he was a Mahdi. And Mahdi means a reformer because he was two in one, like he was a Messiah and a Mahdi. So two in one means that he was a reformer, and a reformer comes when things start to go wrong, then he comes and he corrects the thing, and that's why he reforms things, he makes things better. And he was also Al-Hakam and Adl. His name was, his title was Adl wa Hakam, that he will decide things according to the Holy Quran, according to the Sunnah. So his word is a final word. Like in England, you have a civil court, you have a Supreme Court. So if you can understand that anything Supreme Court decide, then nothing else supersedes that. That is final. So in our prophethood, the promised Messiah, when he decides and he tells something what is correct and he gives the interpretation to us, that is the Hakam. Promised Messiah was born in Qadian, which is a small town in India, in Punjab, and that was also prophesied that he will be born in a town called Qadi, and Qadi changed into Qazi, who decides, and then he became Qadian. So he was born, and I will show you a picture of the room. And this picture, because I traveled there, sorry children, so it's my personal photos, but you have to not see me, see the room. So in this room, can you see it?
Yeah.
Can you see this room?
Yeah.
Yes. So in this room in Qadian, it says Kamra Pedaish. In this room, promised Messiah was born on the 13th of February 1835. Okay. So his house was a very beautiful house, because my childhood, when I was at your age, even baby, I was brought up in Qadian, so I know Qadian very well. So this is the house. Can you see the full picture? Yeah, but I can't see myself. Is there a screen? Yeah.
Someone just moved.
Can you see these beautiful walls? And this is a window, this is the door there. This is like a front yard, we call it courtyard in there. Promised Messiah used to meet people. So this is a part of his house. And I'll show you another picture, how they used to take water. Can you see water well? You must have seen internet in water well.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see it? Can you see here? Can you see this wooden thing? This goes round and round, and there is a rope. And under the rope, there is a bucket. So this bucket goes down into the well, and person pulls it and it brings water. So this is how in Promised Messiah time people used to take water from his house. Okay.
Okay.
So now we should think about how Promised Messiah was and how did he look like. Has anyone seen his picture?
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
Promised Messiah, because the turban which he
Yes.
wears, our Hazur, all the Khulafa wears a turban. So this is the Promised Messiah. If
Yes.
you look carefully, look at his eyes are so beautiful, but is half open. Promised Messiah never used to gaze at people or stare at people. He used to keep his gaze, his eyes lower down, which means that he was more thinking about Allah, and he was thinking more about, spiritual things. So this is Promised Messiah, and he used to wear simple clothes, a long coat. Sometimes he used to, I think most of the time he used to carry with him a stick. The stick he used to carry, which is called chari. And he has stick, and although he was a very fast walker, he used to walk 4 or 5 miles a day, or sometime more, but he always carried, this is called asa or lachi or a stick, So he was, to look at, Promised Messiah was very handsome. He has all the manly, beautiful charm. He was a model of manly beauty. Then his personality was very magnetic. Magnet, what magnet does. If you would magnet and a metal, it sticks together, doesn't it? So his personality was such that whoever would come near or close to him or sit with Promised Messiah والسلام, they will get nur and they get peace and they get serenity, and his personality was so attractive in that way. But he was very simple man. He was very soft spoken to people, and whatever he says, it was very, very effective. Now we should talk about the prophecy which was before the Messiah in the Holy Quran, and also Holy Prophets' hadiths and all that, which we know that he said that the Mahdi and Messiah will come when, after the deterioration of Islam in the head of 14th century, it was promised that he will come and he will reform the nation. How he will reform the nation and what had gone wrong, we need to understand a little bit. Can you all see me, children? Can you see me?
Yes.
You can see me. Okay, good.
Yes.
So you just have the older children, I think when you read history in your school, so you're used to with dates and use the history, but just imagine before the birth of Promised Messiah Islam, in India, he was born in India. Why did he not born in Mecca and he wasn't born in any other country? Because India was in the most decline and in a dire state of that time. And Allah has prophesied that the Messiah will be born there in India. The British people in the 16th century, in the 17th century AD, were used to rule India. And after 1858, after the big mutiny, the British Raj was established in India. Then what happened? There were nearly 8,000 Christians, and what they were doing, they were targeting Muslims especially. They wanted Muslims to become Christian. And Muslims believe in one God, as you and I, we both believe in one God and we worship Allah. The Christians believe in three gods, the Son, the Father, the Holy Ghost, whatever. So Christian missionaries went into India because India was ruled by the British people at that time of Queen Victoria. And they sent a lot of people, a lot of missionaries there to convert Muslims to Christian. And this was happening because Muslims at that time were not very educated. Well, majority of them were not educated, and they didn't read Quran. They used to have Holy Quran. They put a Holy Quran on the top of a cupboard with respect, and maybe read once a year. When somebody dies, they will do Chelam or whatever, and then they read Holy Quran at that time. The understanding of the Holy Quran wasn't there, and there is also a prophecy that the mosque will be there, but that will be empty from spirituality. Holy Quran would be there, but people would not understand. So all these things really distract from his Messiah alayhi salam. He wanted to save Muslims. So his main mission, his main task why Allah sent him is to break the cross. There was also a prophecy that Messiah will come and he will break the cross and he will kill the swine. So breaking the cross doesn't mean that he will actually break the wooden cross. It means the ideology of the cross, the death of Jesus. He will refute that and he will correct people's thoughts that Jesus was only a human. We believe that Jesus was a prophet. He was not the Son of God and he was not God. So promised Messiah was very distraught about, and he used to pray. He used to pray a lot. He used to pray a lot to Allah that what will happen to this ummah. He wanted to save, because promised Messiah came as according to Surah Jummah. If I don't remember all the ayat, the verse comes وَآخِرِينَ مِنْهُمْ لَمَّا يَلْحَقُ بِهِمْ, that Holy Prophet will come again among those people you have not met. So promised Messiah's character was just like the character of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And it wouldn't be wrong to say that, his character was a reflection of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. It's like in the morning you get ready, go to school, you comb your hair, you see a mirror, don't you? You all look into the mirror. What do you see? You see yourself and you see your image, your reflection. So there are two. You see two people, your original and your reflection. So if you imagine that, Holy Prophet ﷺ was the original person, founder of Islam, and promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, was his reflection, just like in the mirror. So he was a different person, but he brought the same ethos, and he came to uphold Islam, to purify Islam, to reform people. Then what he did, he used to go to pray. People, his father used to say, if somebody come in the house, oh, where is Ghulam Ahmad? And he say, oh, he will be somewhere in the mosque. And he used to go and pray and pray and pray a lot. At a very young age, he used to pray. Then he also prayed in Baitul Dua. I'll show you. Baitul Dua is a house. It's a small place, very small room. I used to go there with my mom quite a lot. It's a small room, and can you see a prayer mat there? Only about 2 people or maybe a child with them can pray there. This is called Baitul Dua. It's in the house of Promised Messiah, where I showed you the house before. And in this Baitul Dua, he used to, can you see that? In this Baitul Dua, people, when they go to Jalsa and Qadian, I mean, ever since people, when they want to pray, they go in that room, because Promised Messiah prayed in that room. That's a blessed room, a very, very sacred room. And if you look carefully, it's very beautiful. Can you see a wooden pillars? And there are 3-4 steps underneath. So you climb up the steps, then you go into that dua. And it is very peaceful, very quiet. You shut the door, you think about Allah, and you pray. And this is what Promised Messiah used to do. Then what happened, that he continued to pray for the betterment of Muslim Ummah, and also to break the cross, I mean, to break people's ideas for the cross. So Allah started speaking to him. And when Allah speaks, it's not like I'm speaking to you on Zoom. It's not like a telephone that you pick a phone and you phone. Allah speaks to his chosen person, and that is called ilham. In Urdu, in Arabic, it's called ilham. And in English, we translate it as revelation. So when you Hazur's sermon on Friday, you listen, Hazur would use this word ilham, then you understand and you will always remember, I hope you will always remember, ilham or revelation means is the words of God. When somebody, actually the words, if there are no words and there is just a nazara or you just seeing image, that's a dream. There is a roya, there is kashf, there is ilham. Ilham is the highest form where Allah speaks. So children, I want you to remember this date, 1869. 1869 was the time that after fervent prayers of the promised Messiah, Allah spoke to him for first time. A voice came. I don't exactly know which was the first ilham, but this is one of the early ilham I will read to you. And Allah said to him, verily, I am your Lord. Verily, I am your Lord. So promised Messiah found God because God spoke to him. And he was so happy that he was connected with his creator. And Allah started to speak to him. And these ilhams, children, not one, not two, in thousands, if you read her Promised Messiah's books, the revelation came into thousands. And then I would read some of the revelations to you that Allah said to him in ilham, I will give you a large party of Islam. This ilham was in English. And some ilham, which means will give you large party of Islam, because at that time, Promised Messiah was just a lone person. Even his family, they loved him to bits. Their family liked him a lot. But Promised Messiah used to pray in the mosque in seclusion. So he didn't have a community. He didn't have a follower. He was alone. Then Allah said, don't worry. I will give you a large party of Islam. Who can repeat that? Can you repeat it? I want you to memorize it.
I will give you a large party of Islam.
Excellent. And this party doesn't mean a birthday party. This party means a group of people, a lot of followers Allah will give. And then in 1876, his father was about to die, and his mother had already died in 1868, years before. So 1876, Promised Messiah, Allah spoke to him again, and that was the ilham. And you all know that, alaysa Allahu bikafin abdahu. Allah said, is it not Allah sufficient for his servant? Servant means, and if you see your mom and dad or somebody in their finger, even Hazur, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasrul Aziz wears the ring. And that ring, it says, alaysa Allahu bikafin abdahu. And today, I would like you, after the program finish, find a ring and try read that. And remember that ilham came in 1876, at the time when Promised Messiah was about to lose his father. So Allah gave him comfort by this. So lots of ilham Promised Messiah came, and then when he used to pray, he said, Promised Messiah used to say, my soul, oh Allah, my soul. We all have a soul. We can't see it. You know, like you and I, we all have a soul. But Promised Messiah's soul was so blessed. He said to Allah, oh Allah, my soul is flying towards you like a bird who flies towards his nest. What do birds do in the morning? They go in the west, come out, and they go back. So Promised Messiah's soul was flying towards Allah, his creator. Then Promised Messiah prayed, children, and this is so wonderful. It really is wonderful. Promised Messiah said to God, I seek a sign from you, O Allah. O my Majesty Allah, I seek a sign from you, not for me, but I seek a sign so people can recognize you and people believe that you have sent me as a Messiah. You have sent me as a Mahdi. So people believe that you have sent me as a reformer. So this prayer was so powerful that, even this day, when you grow old, you will understand the beauty of these words. Then after that, promised Messiah decided to go in seclusion. And you remember that Holy Prophet ﷺ, where was Quran revealed? Which place was it? Who can tell me? Where was the
Makkah.
Holy Quran revealed?
Makkah.
In Makkah. Where? Yes, in Makkah. Where about? Was he in his house?
In a cave.
In a cave. Well
No.
done. And the name of the
Ghar
cave was
Hira.
Ghar
Ghar
Hira.
Hira.
Bilkul. Cave of Hira. And there's a name of that mountain is Jabalun Nur. So Holy Prophet ﷺ used to go there, and you know the history, and he used to climb 2,500 feet, and he used to pray in that cave. And similarly, as the promised Messiah is his reflection, he decided he will go in seclusion for 40 days. 40 days is also called Chilla Kashi, means you really, your soul, your body, by everything, you are striving for the love of God. So he traveled to a town called Hoshiarpur. Hoshiarpur was a town belonged to one of his friends, and he stayed there in upstairs room, and he said to people that nobody should disturb me. He just wanted to connect with Allah more and more, and he wanted a sign. Like I told you before, he wanted a majestic sign from God. Sign means when Allah tell you something in ilham that some amazing things gonna happen. So that was a sign. So Promised Messiah Islam went in Hoshiarpur, and he stayed in that room. And I show you a picture of that room. Some years ago, I went there. I just want you to look at the room and admire, because the room is the same. I mean, it's more beautified now. So this room, can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see that beautiful door there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you see prayer mats?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
Ahmadis all over the world, whenever they go to India, people decide to go to Hoshiarpur. They go in this room and they see where our beloved promised Messiah stayed for 40 days. And I show you one more. It's a door. You don't need to look at me and my husband, but just look at, I just want you to concentrate and look at this door. Yeah, look at this door. This is the entrance of that room. And promised Messiah ﷺ asked the Khuddam and people to bring his food and leave it on the floor there. And nobody was allowed to go inside the room. So this is the door where his food was left, and he did not speak to anyone. Can you imagine? Don't speak to anyone. Your friend, your mom and dad, nobody. Who he was speaking to in those
Allah.
he was speaking to.
Allah.
Well done, you're very clever.
God.
Very clever boy. So promised Messiah ﷺ was speaking to Allah and praying and praying and praying. And it was during that period in 1886, Allah gave him a mighty sign about Hazrat Muslim, his first son, who was going to be born within 9 years. But then you will learn when we do Promise Muslim Out Day. So I won't go in that detail. That's about 52 signs in that Allah spoke to him. And then time goes on, promised Messiah continued, and Allah called him that he was a mujaddid. In 1885, the older children might remember the dates. In 1885, Allah spoke to him in Ilham, and Allah said, you are the mujaddid of the time, of that era, that time. So mujaddid means a reformer. So at that time, he had a lot of friends, and people wanted him to start a community, and people wanted him to take a bath of allegiance and because there was no one in the world or in India as knowledgeable, as pious as Promised Messiah was. But he did not take any back. Then the time came, 1889. He traveled to another town in India, which is Ludhiana. So I'm only going to tell you about 3 important places because Promised Messiah traveled to lots of places in India, and that was Pakistan as well at the time, one country. So in 1889, he went to Ludhiana, and there was again another small house, and his people who loved him, cared for him, respected him, adored him, and people who wanted to be his followers gathered there. And there he took the first bath. How many of you have seen bath when Hazur refreshes our bath at Jalsa time on a Sunday? Any of you remember people put hand over
Yeah,
hand,
me.
and
Yeah.
then
Me.
Hazur
Yeah.
recites the word and we say after it. Who remembers the bath?
Me.
Me.
You remember? Excellent.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just imagine the same bath was taken in Ludhiana in 1889, and the date was 23rd March. This date you have to remember because you are actually celebrating. We were supposed to do this program in March, what we're doing in April, but Promised Messiah is with us throughout our life, so it doesn't matter. 23rd of March, 1889, he took the first batch, and there were 40 people. 40 people believed in him, and 40 people took allegiance with him. And the first person was, some of you already know. Who can tell me?
Hazrat Mirza Bashir-ud-Din Mahmud Ahmad.
No, can you try? Somebody else can try?
Hazrat Hakim Maulana Nuruddin Ahmad Sahib.
MashaAllah, and he became the first Khalifa after. So he was he's really a very great devotee. He took the first bath, and there were 40 people at that time. So when Allah gave him ilham, I will give you a large, what Allah said?
I will give you a large party of Islam.
I will give you a large party of Islam. So the first party which Allah gave him was of how many people?
40.
40 people.
40.
And 40 people. And now, 100 and so many years after, we are in the 2nd century. How many people you think there are Ahmadis now?
2 million.
How many?
2 million.
2 million. There are much more than 2 million. They are in 200. We are in 200 countries. And Ahmadis
500.
all over the world. Many million. Even I don't know the exact. But I think from
500
your mom and
million.
dad you find out today.
25 million.
How many?
25 million.
25 million. Okay. But I think you need to check again because I myself not sure. Because even when people come to Jalsa, 35,000 people, we can't find each other. So Allah gave him a huge party of Islam. And then Allah says, I will reach thy message to the corners of the earth. Imagine, Qadian, a small town. There weren't any roads. There were no railway. There was no telephone. Nobody knew Promised Messiah at that time in 1889. Then Allah tells him, he reached thy message to the corners of the earth in all continents. Trust me, I traveled to New Zealand and Australia. I traveled to New Zealand, which is the corner of the earth. And I was crying when I saw people there, and we were giving, I was doing lot of tabligh with my brother. We gave Holy Quran to the king. So I was overwhelmed that how we are now witnessing. You are a great generation. You are witnessing now. It's tangible. It's tangible. You're witnessing the amazing growth of Jamaat and his ilham being fulfilled. Then I would also tell you one thing about Promised Messiah was said that is in the Bible as well, that the Messiah will rise in the east in the place called Qada, and the Qada turn into Qada and then Qadian. So Qadian is in the east. And to mark this prophecy, promised Messiah والسلام, and there was another one prophecy actually, that he will descend on the white minaret among two of his angels. And that prophecy was also fulfilled in 1924, actually, when Hazrat Muslim Maud stopped at Damascus from his visit to London. You know, Fazl Mosque, Promised Messiah, Hazrat Muslim Maud did laid the foundation. On his return journey, he stayed at Damascus, and that prophecy that the minaret, white minaret, the Messiah will descend. And he did his Fajr namaz, and he saw that minaret there in Damascus. And then he had two disciples with him. One of them was my grandfather, and the other person was Dr. Hashmatullah. Then Hazur put his hand on their shoulders and said, that prophecy fulfilled today. And Damascus is in the east. So promised Messiah, to mark that prophecy, promised Messiah والسلام, did laid foundation of a minaret, which I'll show you a picture. He laid foundation of Minaratul Masih, and that was, I think, in 1903. Can you see?
Yes.
You all see Minaratul Masih. It's a
Yeah.
very beautiful minaret, and what is more important here, that there was a verse of Holy Quran written on it. I can't. هو الذي يرسل عليهم. Hafiz sahab, you know that verse के अल्लाह दीनहु के लियुज़हिरहु, वो पढ़ेंगे आप जरा?
जी, आऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। हुवल्लज़ी अरसला रसूलहु, हाँ जी, हुवल्लज़ी अरसला रसूलहु व दीनल हक़्क़ि लियुज़हिरहु अलद्दीनि कुल्लिहि। नहीं, इधर से नहीं, मैं वैसे मेमोरी से पढ़ रहा हूँ।
So this verse, children, can you see where my finger is? This verse of the Holy Quran is written nice and bold on the minaret. And this verse is announcing the whole world that the Messiah has came to reform ala dine kullahi, every religion. So he didn't bring a new religion, but ala dine kullahi, because this is the prophecy in the Holy Quran also fulfilled in his person. So if you ever go to Qadian, you should visit there, and there is a kalama written on the top. And the beauty of Minaratul Masih is all made of marble. And it was later completed because Prophet Messiah didn't have enough finance. It was completed in the time of Hazrat Muslim Maud, alayhi salatu wassalam. And have I told you, I haven't shown you the picture of the room. In 2006, Hazrat, our present Hazur, Ayatollah bin Nasir al-Aziz, ordered to buy this house where the first bath took place. I'll show you. Look at this room. The first bath took place here in this room. And after the partition, this house was taken over by Hindu people. So when we took over, can you see the walls now very clear? And I am looking at, can you see this book?
Yeah.
Looking at how many people visited that place. So this is Ludhiana, and of a very young, very nice Murabbi here. Can you see that? They all work there. There's a little mosque. They have made a little mosque there. People pray. It's a very blessed, very peaceful, very, very nice place. So Ludhiana. Now, the other thing I have forgotten to tell you, that Allah Ta'ala gave Prophet Messiah a lot of power, excellent power in languages, and Allah gave him, he was amazing speaker. None of us can speak and impress people in the way as Promised Messiah did. None of us can write the way the Promised Messiah wrote, and he went from heart to heart. Promised Messiah, Promised Messiah went into the Masjid Aqsa, and he did a sermon in Arabic language. By birth, he was born in Qadian. He was not an Arab. He was Ajami. Then Allah said to Prophet Messiah, today, the Eid khutbah will be in Arabic. He promised Messiah, he didn't know. He went to the mosque, and I'll show you a place where he was. He went to Masjid Aqsa. This is Masjid Aqsa here. See, this is the mosque. And this is exactly the place here. Promised Messiah والسلام, stood, and the khutbah is called khutbah ilhamiyah. Means that this sermon, Eid sermon, was revealed to Promised Messiah والسلام, by Allah, and he spoke fluent Arabic. And one of his disciples, I don't know, I forgot the name, he wrote that khutbah, and it still exists. Our Arabic people can, and when you and I are able to read Arabic in that good way, we can read that as well. So he gave that khutbah. Then Hazur, Allah taught him the excellent way of interpreting the Surah Fatiha. How many verses in Surah Fatiha?
6.
How many verses there are? Is it a long surah or a short surah?
Short.
It's short. How many verses?
7.
7. Yeah, brilliant. 7 verses. And when you learn the translation, it's very easy. In one page, you have a translation. But Promised Messiah, Allah showed him. Allah said, Surah Fatiha is a rose. Surah Fatiha is like a rose of the Holy Quran, the best. And there, look at this one. This is the commentary written by Promised Messiah والسلام, 7 verses. How many pages? Look at that. 400 pages of 7 verses. Translation of 7 verses in 400 pages. Isn't it amazing? So Allah the Almighty gave him that amazing power to write things in such a way that nobody else can write. And Promised Messiah said, I will give you 1,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees reward if anybody can write. And he published India, Pakistan, all the other countries, and he challenged, can anyone write a better commentary than this? Then he will give me reward. But Promised Messiah also said one more thing, children. That if anyone tried to write, God told him that their pen would be broken and their mind would become heavy. That's the word used. And then Holy Prophet, Promised Messiah Islam, wrote many books. More than 80 books he wrote. And each book you read is so powerful. But it's sad that 80 books, I haven't even read 80 books, but even if I read one book, I just get so overwhelmed by it. Then Allah gave him another title, which you need to know. Sultanul Qalam. Qalam, we write with the pen. Sultan means the king, is the king of the pen. Nobody can write as good as he could. He did. So he wrote many books. And then comes 1890. He took the first batch, 1889, remember? Comes 1890, the year after. Allah said to him, you are the Messiah, wa ilham. Then he announced the whole world that I am the awaited Messiah. And from that time, all the persecution and opposition, more opposition was started. And he said, Hazrat Isa fought ho gaye. Or, you know, and the words were like this one. In his book Fatah Islam, he wrote, Allah ne ilhaman mujhe bataya hai कि ईसा रसूलुल्लाह फौत हो गए और इसकी जगह वादे के मुवाफिक तू आया है. And this ilham was towards the end of 1889. So then all the Christian fellows and the Muslims who believed that Isa alayhi salam was still sitting, sleeping, or whatever he was doing in the heaven, is not alive, and he died, and he's in Kashmir, and he wrote a book Jesus in Kashmir, you can read when you're older. It's a great book as well. The last thing, I mean, we can talk the whole life, we can talk weeks about Promised Messiah. The subject cannot be exhausted. What I would like to tell you, children, that Promised Messiah, when he took the bath, he expected us, Ahmadis, to be different and better. We should have a distinction. Distinction means something is beautiful, something is very, very beautiful, and something is extremely beautiful. So you have distinction from good to bad to worse. So Promised Messiah said to his Jamaat that he wants every member of his Jamaat to have distinctive qualities. So when we take that, it is very fearful. So I show you a bad form. We are all born Ahmadi, you're born Ahmadi, Alhamdulillah, but the conditions of birth, there were 10 conditions of birth. Imagine you go to school, there are rules. Your teacher tells you there are rules in school and you have to follow. Same way, in Ahmadiyya, in our Jamaat, Promised Messiah wrote 10 conditions of birth that every Ahmadi should follow. Because you are children, I mean, some language is difficult. I will end here now. But what I want to say to you children, that because, Alhamdulillah, I mean, you are great children, you're reading and memorizing Holy Quran, you're so much better than me, 100 times, 1,000 times better than me. You are blessed kids. So remember these conditions of birth, and you can ask your mom and dad to find it for you and write it down and keep it. Because I tell you, the first condition in this is keep away from falsehood. No, the first condition is you keep away from shirk. Believe in one God. The distinction of Islam is that Qul huwallahu ahad. Say Allah is one. And when you say Allah is one, then we should ask Allah for all our needs, shouldn't we? Because Allah gave you life. You weren't there. I wasn't there. Nobody was here. Allah gave us life, eyes, nose, mouth, everything Allah gave us. So when we need something, we should ask Allah. We shouldn't go to some people or go to special teacher or she give you better marks, or you want a job, you go to some rich person or powerful man, oh please help me, I want to get a job. You don't want to go to some rich people who say, I don't have money, please give me money. You don't want to associate any partner with Allah. Anything you need, if you need even a pair of shoes, you ask Allah and you pray. You pray, Allah, help my parents to provide me what I need, and ask Allah directly. So when you believe in Allah in your heart and you pray, that Allah always is ujibu da'wat, Allah listen to our prayers. So do not ever associate partner with Allah. And associating partner with Allah means when we say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah is great. We are not great. No one is great. Allahu Akbar. So we should ask from Allah, and you should pray earnestly, and don't think someone is amazing and they can help you. Surely people can help you, but say they will help you with the help of Allah. So then you are not doing shirk. The second one in here is that the Ahmadis who do debate should do 5 daily prayers. 5 daily prayers is very important because in Islam, 5 times a day, especially we stand and we sit and we remember our Allah. And doing namaz, children, in a proper way is very, very important. Some people go namaz time, oh quickly, I'm getting late, and you just quickly do wudu and you just go Allahu Akbar, quick, fast, do namaz, and you finish namaz. So as if you've gone to Allah's door and you've come out and you are not pure, you are not you haven't said to Allah what you wanted to say. So what I'm saying, do the wudu properly. Very, very important that you think about, now I'm going into washroom. I want to do wudu because I'm going to be in front of my Allah. So you do your wudu properly, And then people don't do masa properly. Always put your hand over behind your ears and on your neck. And trust me, if you do your masa properly, your body just gets freshened up, your eyes, everything. If you do masa properly, you will know. Then do your full wuzu, clean clothes. Your prayer mat has to be very clean. Wear some perfume. I do. You don't have to. It's not sunnah. For Holy Prophet Muhammad love perfume. So I always wear perfume when I do my salat. So wear perfume, and then make sure television is not on. Make sure nobody disturbs you when you're doing salat. In your sajda, you pray to Allah whatever you want. So doing namaz properly. So, and the third one, we won't go over all of it. The third one is you will not cause harm to anyone. You will not hurt anyone. You will not speak bad language. Sometimes you fight with your brothers or sisters. Oh, no, it's mine. No, it's mine. No, it's yours. It is not nice. Speak softly. Speak nicely. And also, you have to be faithful to Hazur, because we have done right to Hazur, the Khilafat. We have to be faithful. If Hazur says something, you have to be obedient. And this word obedient, in your school you don't hear very much, but in our Jamaat you hear a lot. Obedience means listen and do what you are told. So if your parent says something, you have to say, yes, mom, yes, dad. Your teacher says something, yes, you do that. Your Hazur says something, you do that. We have to be obedient and humble and not be arrogant, and always, always speak the truth. Sometimes if I make a mistake or something, I say, I'm sorry, I've done it. Never ever hide the truth. Always be honest. If somebody tells you something, that's a amana. Don't go and tell somebody else, because this is very, very bad, and Allah doesn't like, Promised Messiah doesn't like it. In the condition of that is mentioned. Keep the trust. Trustworthy you have to be. Honest. And always speak the truth. And then you see that inshallah, you will be the star of Ahmadiyya. You will be successful, because in your hearts, you have Holy Quran. And I pray for you.
Jazakumullah. Now I request you to lead us into silent prayer, and that will conclude our Jalsa, and all the proceedings will go final.
Oh, Jazakallah, Sahib. Okay, let's pray. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Now we conclude our class and also Jalsa. See you next Saturday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.